Long ago, before humans even knew other worlds existed, the galaxy almost destroyed itself. The story begins on a planet named Vorith, home to a proud and powerful race of scientists. They discovered a new chemical compound called Xylox-9. It was bright blue, glowing like liquid lightning. At first, they believed it could become a powerful energy source, something to fuel ships, heal sickness, or create endless food. But soon, the truth came out. Xylox-9 was not energy, it was death. Even one drop could melt the flesh of a creature within seconds. Its fumes could poison an entire city. Entire species fell sick after a single breath. Within weeks, half the planet of Vorith was gone. They tried to destroy it, but it spread like a virus through the air. The surviving races of the galaxy came together to stop it. The Galactic Council passed the law of banishment, declaring Xylox-9 the most dangerous substance in the universe. Every planet was ordered to destroy any sample, record, or research. The very word Xylox became forbidden. For centuries, no one dared even whisper its name. To the galaxy, it was not just poison, it was a curse. Thousands of years passed. The universe changed. Empires rose and fell. Species learned peace, trade, and new technology. But far away, on a small blue planet called Earth, a new intelligent race was rising. Humans. They were bold, curious, and a little bit reckless. They mixed, burned, and experimented with everything they could find. They called it science and cooking. They loved danger. While most species avoided toxic plants and bitter chemicals, humans did the opposite. They roasted, fermented, boiled, and ate almost anything. From burning chili peppers to bitter caffeine, from sour lemons to strong alcohol, humans turned pain into pleasure. One day, in the galaxy's outer communication network, a strange report appeared. A merchant ship from the Xynar sector landed on Earth for the first time in centuries. When the alien crew returned home, they brought something strange, a small cup filled with a dark, sweet-smelling liquid. They called it coffee. They said the humans drink it every morning. The council scientists tested the liquid. At first, nothing seemed special. But when they analyzed the molecules, alarms went off. The chemical signature matched Xylox-9, the same poison banned across the galaxy. The scientists couldn't believe it. They repeated the tests again and again. The results were the same. The humans were consuming the most dangerous substance ever made, and they were fine. The news spread across the galaxy like fire. Every species was shocked. How can humans drink death? The headlines asked. Some believed it was fake. Others thought the humans had mutated. But the data was real. The humans were not only alive, they were enjoying it. They mixed the poison with milk, sugar, chocolate, and flavors. They even opened shops to sell it. In human cities, billions of people lined up daily to drink this toxic brew. They called it delicious. The galaxy was horrified. On the planet Trion, the Galactic Council held an emergency meeting. The chamber buzzed with fear and confusion. If they can survive Xylox-9, said one senator, they can survive anything. Another added, if they learn to weaponize it again, history will repeat itself. But one young scientist from the council spoke softly, or maybe, they have evolved. Maybe they found a way to control it. No one wanted to believe that, yet the idea spread. Meanwhile, on Earth, humans continued their daily lives without knowing the chaos they had caused across the stars. In a small cafe in New York, steam rose from hundreds of cups of coffee. Laughter filled the air. The same substance that once destroyed a world now gave humans warmth and comfort. To them, it wasn't poison, it was life. But not everyone in the galaxy was calm. In the shadow of the council, a secret group called the Silent Order decided to act. They believed the humans were a threat to all existence. They planned to visit Earth, not for peace, but for control. Their mission was simple: discover how the humans neutralized Xylox-9 and destroy them before it spread. 3 ships left from the dark side of the moon of Trion. They traveled through wormholes and black space, using stealth drives that made them invisible. Their commander, a cold-eyed alien named Kareth, believed this mission would save the galaxy. "Humans play with poison," he said. "We will end their game." Back on Earth, a strange series of lights appeared in the night sky, but no one noticed. People thought it was just a meteor shower. The alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere silently. They released small observation drones disguised as raindrops. These drones floated through cities, parks, and homes, watching everything. What they saw amazed them. Humans didn't just drink coffee, they made thousands of versions of it. Iced coffee, espresso, mocha, latte, cappuccino. They added flavors, sugar, chocolate, and cream. The same compound that once melted skin now made people smile. The drones recorded data and sent it back to Kareth's ship. When the first results came in, Kareth was shocked. The humans' DNA had a strange resistance. Their cells didn't react to Xylox 9 the way alien cells did. Instead of breaking down, the poison became harmless. In small amounts, it even helped humans focus and feel energy. The chemical that destroyed worlds now gave them strength. Kareth didn't understand. He ordered deeper tests. Days later, one of the alien scientists made a terrible mistake. While studying the coffee, a drop touched his tongue. Everyone expected him to die in pain. But instead, he blinked and smiled. "It's sweet," he said. "It feels warm." The crew stared in disbelief. The poison didn't kill him, it made him feel good. Kareth was furious. "You are contaminated," he shouted. But deep inside, fear turned into curiosity. For the first time, an alien had tasted what humans called comfort. The scientist couldn't stop drinking. "How can this be?" Kareth whispered. "The universe banned this poison, but the humans made it delicious." Far above Earth, the stars burned quietly, as if watching history repeat itself. A substance once feared as death had found new life in human hands. And somewhere in the vast darkness, the Silent Order prepared their next move. They would not allow this secret to spread. Not again. But what they didn't know was that humanity's true power was not the poison, it was their ability to turn danger into discovery. The galaxy was about to learn that when humans touch something forbidden, they don't just survive, they transform it. And this time, the universe would never be the same again. The Silent Order ships hovered silently above Earth's clouds, hidden by cloaking fields that bent light around them. Commander Kareth stood in front of a holographic display showing images of humans drinking their strange brown liquid in every corner of the planet. Cafes filled with laughter, streets glowing with neon lights, people walking with cups in their hands, it all looked harmless. But Kareth didn't trust what he saw. To him, humans were not drinking coffee, they were consuming death. The Silent Order had one mission, to find out how humans survived Xylox 9 and to make sure no one else ever learned their secret. Kareth selected 3 of his best field agents, Lura, Ven, and Score. They were trained in stealth and observation. Their task was to go down to Earth in disguise, study human behavior, and bring back a live sample of a human who regularly consumed coffee. Lura, the most curious among them, felt nervous but excited. She had read about humans in old archives, reckless, emotional, unpredictable creatures who thrived in chaos. "Commander," she asked before leaving, "what if they are not the threat we think they are?" Kareth glared at her. "Poison does not become safe just because fools enjoy it," he said coldly. With that, the small silver craft detached from the mothership and slipped into Earth's atmosphere. The team landed quietly in a forest near a city humans called Seattle. From there, they activated their human disguises, synthetic skin, fake eyes, and voices copied from intercepted broadcasts. They looked completely human. Lura was amazed by the planet. The air was rich, the colors bright, and the smell of rain mixed with roasted beans filled the streets. "That smell," she whispered. "It's everywhere." Ven pointed at a small cafe with a glowing sign that said fresh brewed coffee. People stood in line even in the cold rain, waiting for their turn. The agents entered and took a seat, pretending to be travelers. They watched carefully as humans ordered drinks, smiled, talked, and sipped from steaming cups. The sound of machines hissing filled the air. None of the humans seemed in pain. Some even looked happier after drinking. "They are enjoying it," Ven said in disbelief. "They should be dying." Lura couldn't take her eyes off a young barista behind the counter. He worked quickly, mixing milk, chocolate, and coffee in perfect rhythm. Every cup he made released that sweet, dangerous aroma. She wanted to understand how these fragile beings could live with something so deadly. To blend in, she ordered one mocha latte, please, she said, copying the words she heard from others. The barista smiled and handed her a cup. The moment she held it, she felt warmth spread through her synthetic hands. The smell made her feel something she couldn't describe. Comfort. Ven whispered, "Careful, it's toxic." But Lura couldn't resist. She took a small sip. Her eyes widened. The taste was rich, deep, slightly bitter but sweet at the same time. It felt alive. Her heart, an artificial device, started beating faster. For a second, she forgot who she was. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Ven looked horrified. "Are you insane?" But she didn't stop. "No, Venerable, this is not poison. This is art." When they returned to their hidden base that night, Lura's data readings were strange. Her system showed traces of Xylox 9, but instead of damage, her cells showed adaptation. The poison had changed, less aggressive, more stable. "The humans are not immune," she said. "They've changed the structure of the poison itself." Ven argued that she was contaminated, but deep down, even he wanted to know more. They sent the data to Commander Kareth, who studied it in silence. "You say the humans made the poison harmless?" he asked. Lura nodded. "Not harmless," she said softly. "Better. They improved it." Kareth frowned. "That is impossible. Xylox 9 cannot be improved. It destroys everything it touches." But the numbers didn't lie. Somehow, humans had done what no other species could. They turned death into flavor. Kareth decided he needed proof. The next day, he ordered a small drone disguised as a bird to collect samples from different human cafes. The drone captured air particles, waste, and leftover cups. Every test result was the same. The poison was present, but transformed. Instead of breaking down tissue, it interacted with human chemistry, giving them energy and focus. "They have changed the laws of biology," Kareth muttered. He couldn't decide whether to fear or admire them. Meanwhile, Lura couldn't stop thinking about the taste. She began walking the streets, talking to humans, and observing their culture. She saw how they worked long hours, faced stress, yet found joy in small things, like sharing a warm drink. Humans turned pain into ritual. For them, bitterness wasn't suffering, it was life. One night, she met the same barista again. His name was Aaron. He offered her another cup and said, "Coffee makes everything better, doesn't it?" She smiled awkwardly. "Why do you drink it?" she asked. Aaron laughed. "Because it wakes me up. Because it's part of who we are." That answer stayed in her mind. When she returned to the ship, Ven noticed something different about her. "You're changing," he said. "That stuff is getting to you." Lura didn't deny it. "Maybe it's not just coffee," she said. "Maybe it's the reason humans survive. They take what should destroy them and turn it into strength." At that moment, the sensors beeped. A signal came from the council, a recall order. The silent order's mission was exposed. The council now wanted all evidence erased. But Kareth refused. "No," he said. "This is bigger than the council. If humans can do this with poison, imagine what else they can do." His voice was heavy with a mix of fear and respect. The ship prepared to leave Earth's orbit, but Lura stood by the window, watching the blue planet below. Steam rose from the cities like morning mist. Billions of humans drinking their forbidden potion, laughing, living, unaware that the entire galaxy was watching them. She whispered to herself, "They don't fear the poison because they already learned to live with it." As the ship vanished into the dark sky, Kareth made a final log entry. "The humans have done the impossible," he said. "The universe banned this poison. But the humans, they made it delicious." And with that, the Silent Order ship disappeared among the stars, carrying more questions than answers, and the beginning of something the galaxy had never seen before. Curiosity mixed with fear, and fear mixed with admiration. The first contact was not made through words, but through a cup of coffee. And it changed everything. The Galactic Council Chamber on the planet Trion was built from crystal and light, a place where thousands of alien voices once decided the fate of entire worlds. But today, it was filled with only fear. The air trembled with noise as delegates shouted over one another, each demanding action. The cause of their panic was clear: the humans. Reports from the Silent Order had reached the Council, revealing a truth that no one wanted to believe. The banned substance known as Xylox-9, once capable of wiping out planets, was alive again, hidden inside a human drink they called coffee. The council leader, a towering creature named Varntel, slammed his metallic staff against the floor. "Order!" he roared, his voice echoing like thunder. "We will speak one at a time." Slowly, the shouting stopped. Varntel's eyes glowed red as he read the report in front of him. "According to this data," he said slowly, "humans consume the forbidden compound daily. And yet, they live. Not only live, they thrive." The room filled with gasps. Some senators whispered that it was impossible, others that the report was a trick, perhaps planted by the humans themselves. But the evidence was solid. The Silent Order had sent biological scans, chemical samples, and even recordings of humans drinking the poison with smiles on their faces. The council's oldest member, a small and ancient being known as Sorrow, spoke in a trembling voice. "I was alive during the poison wars. I saw what Xylox-9 did. Whole cities turned to ash. Entire oceans boiled. If these humans have found a way to control it, they are more dangerous than any weapon we've ever faced." Another voice shouted, "Then we must act. Ban all trade with Earth. Destroy the planet if we must." Panic spread through the chamber like fire. Species that had once sworn peace now spoke of war again. But in the midst of the chaos, one calm voice rose above the rest. "Perhaps we should not destroy them," said Dr. Tyron, a scientist from the planet Eleron. He was young, but brilliant, known for his open mind. "Maybe we should study them instead." The council turned to stare at him. "Study them," Varntel repeated. "You want us to learn from the creatures who drink poison?" Tyron nodded. "Yes. They turned death into something harmless. Maybe even helpful. What if there's something in their biology, something we can understand? The humans might hold the key to mastering the poison that almost ended us." The chamber went silent. Even Varntel hesitated. Deep down, he knew Tyron had a point. The humans had done something impossible, something that defied every scientific law. Finally, Varntel spoke. "You wish to go to Earth yourself?" Tyron nodded again. "I do. If we destroy them without understanding, we may lose a chance to save the future." The vote began. It was close. Many feared the humans, others were curious. In the end, the motion passed by a narrow margin. Dr. Tyron was granted permission to travel to Earth under the Council's protection, but his mission was secret. If he failed or was discovered, the Council would deny his existence. He accepted without hesitation. Within days, Tyron boarded a small exploration ship, the Aurora, and set course for the Sol system. As his ship entered hyperspace, he looked at the blue hologram of Earth glowing on his screen. "What are you, humans?" he whispered. "How can you dance with poison and call it beauty?" Back on Trion, not everyone agreed with the Council's decision. Commander Kareth of the Silent Order watched the vote with silent rage. To him, Tyron's mission was foolish. "You cannot reason with fire," he said to his officers. You either extinguish it or it burns you. Kareth believed the council was blinded by curiosity. While they debated science, he was preparing for war. Secretly, he began building a fleet, one strong enough to wipe out Earth if necessary. Let the scientist play with his experiments, he muttered. When he fails, we will finish the job. Meanwhile, the Aurora entered Earth's orbit, invisible to human eyes. Tyron studied the planet through his scanners. It was vibrant, full of oceans, forests, and glowing cities. He could already detect traces of Xylox 9 in the atmosphere. The poison had become part of their world. He activated his disguise technology and descended near a human research center. On the ground, he took his first breath of Earth's air. It was thick with oxygen and something else, a faint aroma of roasted beans. The same smell the Silent Order described. Tyron followed the scent to a nearby cafe, where people sat chatting and drinking the forbidden liquid without a care in the world. He felt both awe and fear. These humans were fragile, yet fearless. They played with something deadly as if it were nothing. A waitress smiled and asked, "Would you like to try a cup?" Tyron hesitated, then nodded. The moment he took a sip, his sensors reacted wildly. His body tensed, expecting pain, but none came. Instead, warmth spread through his chest. The flavor was deep and complex, the aroma calming. He felt his mind sharpen. "Incredible," he whispered. "It's stable." For the first time, he understood why humans loved it. It wasn't just a drink, it was power disguised as comfort. He recorded every detail carefully, but he also realized something more profound. The poison had not changed alone. The humans had. Their biology was naturally adaptive, their culture fearless, their curiosity endless. When he sent his first report back to the council, he wrote, "The humans are not immune to Xylox 9, they are its evolution." The message shocked the council once more. Varntel didn't know whether to celebrate or panic. If Tyron was right, humanity could become the most powerful species in the galaxy, capable of surviving what others could not. But far away, Kareth's fleet was already preparing for launch. He had intercepted Tyron's message and made his own decision. "If the Council will not protect the galaxy," he said coldly, "then I will." His ships began to move toward Earth, silent and invisible, ready for war. And so, while one alien scientist reached out to understand humanity, another was coming to destroy it. The galaxy was holding its breath, waiting to see which one would reach Earth first, the hand of curiosity or the hand of fear. Because sometimes, fear travels faster than knowledge. And in the quiet dark between stars, the future of two worlds was about to collide, all because of one forbidden drink that humans called coffee. Dr. Tyron moved through Earth like a shadow, blending easily among humans thanks to his disguise. Weeks had passed since his arrival, and every day brought new questions instead of answers. He spent his mornings in cafes, his nights in laboratories, and his dreams haunted him with the taste of the strange human drink. Coffee, it was everywhere, in homes, offices, streets, and schools. Humanity seemed to run on it, depend on it, love it. To the galaxy, this was madness. To humans, it was normal. Tyron's research was growing faster than expected. He had managed to collect human blood samples, food ingredients, and even raw coffee beans. Every test he ran confirmed one thing: humans had somehow changed the chemical structure of Xylox 9 without realizing it. The poison that once melted skin and destroyed life now worked in harmony with human biology. Instead of burning cells, it strengthened them. Instead of spreading toxicity, it improved focus and energy. It was as if humanity's natural chemistry had turned death into vitality. Tyron couldn't understand how. He needed help, and that's when he met her. Her name was Dr. Lena Carter, a young human food chemist with bright eyes and a restless mind. Tyron first saw her giving a talk at a university. She spoke about how humans discovered flavor through mistake and survival. "We learned to eat what others feared," she said with passion. "Bitter plants, sour fruits, even toxins. We turned them into meals, medicines, and art." Her words echoed in Tyron's mind like music. After her talk, he approached her, pretending to be a visiting scientist from another country. "Your ideas are fascinating," he said. "I am studying chemical adaptations in food. May I see your lab?" Lena smiled warmly. "Of course. I love curious minds." Her lab was small but full of life. The air was heavy with the smell of roasted beans, sugar, and metal. Machines hummed quietly as Lena mixed powders and liquids with the confidence of an artist. Tyron watched closely, fascinated by how humans treated science and creativity as the same thing. "Why do you roast the beans?" he asked. "Because heat changes everything," she said. "It removes poison and releases flavor. Sometimes, burning something makes it better." Tyron froze for a moment. Burning poison to make it better, that was exactly what the humans had done to Xylox 9. They roasted the raw substance, broke its structure, and rebuilt it through fire. What once killed now nourished. Over the next few weeks, Tyron and Lena worked together. She believed he was a foreign researcher studying human flavor chemistry. He watched how she mixed caffeine with milk, sugar, and chocolate, ingredients that balanced the poison and made it harmless. He realized humans didn't survive Xylox 9 because of evolution alone. They survived because they experimented without fear. They failed, learned, and tried again. Every mistake brought them closer to mastery. Humanity's strength wasn't just in their DNA, it was in their curiosity. Late one night, as they worked together, Lena asked, "Why are you so interested in coffee? You study it like it's a living thing." Tyron hesitated, then smiled faintly. "Because it is," he said softly. "It killed my people once." Lena laughed, thinking it was a joke, but Tyron's eyes were serious. "We once discovered a similar compound," he continued carefully. "It was too powerful. It destroyed us." Lena stopped smiling. "You mean, it was poison?" He nodded slowly. "Yes. But you humans made it into something beautiful." The next morning, Tyron analyzed a new batch of roasted beans. The results shocked even him. The compound had evolved again. The human method of cooking and blending had created a more complex version of Xylox 9, still powerful, but perfectly stable. It no longer resembled the deadly original. Humanity had not just changed the poison, they had created a new form of it, one that existed only on Earth. He named it Xylox H for human. But while Tyron was making discoveries, the danger was growing. Commander Caratha's fleet had left the shadows. The Silent Order ships were moving toward Earth. Their plan was simple: capture Tyron, destroy all human samples, and erase Earth before the poison could spread again. Carath believed he was saving the galaxy, not realizing he was walking into the most important evolution in history. Meanwhile, Tyron shared his findings with the Galactic Council through secret transmissions. "I have proof," he said in his report. "The humans have not just neutralized Xylox 9, they have perfected it. Their creativity and tolerance have reshaped its nature. It no longer harms. It heals." The council was divided. Some called him a traitor for defending a dangerous species. Others began to wonder if the humans had unlocked a new frontier of science. One evening, as Tyron and Lena stood outside watching the sunset, he finally asked her, "Why do humans always chase danger?" Lena smiled thoughtfully. "Because danger makes life exciting. We taste the fire, but we don't let it burn us. That's how we grow." Her words hit him harder than she could imagine. He realized that was humanity's secret, not immunity, not strength, but the will to touch danger and turn it into creation. Suddenly, alarms in Tyron's ship rang. His sensors detected the arrival of multiple ships entering Earth's orbit. The Silent Order was here. Carath had come. Tyron looked up at the darkening sky and saw faint lights moving like stars in motion. He knew what they were. "It's too soon," he whispered. Lena looked at him, confused. "What's wrong?" Tyron didn't answer. He could feel fear rising, not for himself but for her, for humanity. They had no idea what was coming. As the first alien ships descended through the clouds, Tyron activated a protective field around Lena's lab. "If they find me," he said urgently, "you must hide this." He handed her a small crystal containing all his research. "This is proof that humanity changed the universe." She didn't understand, but she took it. "Who are you really?" she asked. Tyron looked at her, his disguise flickering slightly to reveal glowing silver eyes. "A friend," he said softly. "And maybe your student." Moments later, explosions lit the night sky as the Silent Order began their invasion. Earth was about to face the truth it never knew existed. The universe was coming, not to learn from humans, but to stop them. And yet, as the fires rose, Tyron couldn't help but think of Lena's words. "We taste the fire, but we don't let it burn us." He hoped she was right, because the fire was finally here. The night sky over Earth burned with streaks of light as Caratha's fleet entered the atmosphere, silent but deadly. Their ships shimmered like shadows, invisible to human eyes but glowing bright on Tyron's sensors. He knew the Silent Order had come to finish what they started, to destroy everything. Inside Lena's lab, Tyron worked quickly, transferring data from his scanners into the small crystal drive he had given her. "You must keep this safe," he said urgently. "It holds proof that your people turned death into life." Lena's hands trembled as she clutched the crystal. "What's happening? Who are they?" Tyron didn't have time to answer. He looked at her with eyes full of regret. "They think they are saving the galaxy," he said. "But they are wrong." Outside, thunder rolled as the first alien ships broke through the clouds. The air shimmered with waves of energy as cloaked vessels surrounded the city. In orbit, Commander Carath watched from his flagship, his expression cold. "Begin operation," he ordered. "Capture the scientist. Burn the rest." His voice was calm, but his heart carried the weight of fear, the fear of what humans could become if left unchecked. On the ground, Tyron activated a force field around the lab. Invisible walls of energy shimmered for a second before vanishing into the air. "They will come for me," he told Lena. "But they must not find you." She shook her head fiercely. "No, you're not facing this alone. If they want to destroy us, they'll have to destroy me too." Tyron felt a strange warmth in his chest, something he couldn't explain. Humans were fragile, yet their courage was unmatched. "Then we stand together," he said softly. Moments later, the lab doors burst open. 3 figures in black armor stormed in, their weapons humming with blue light. "Dr. Tyron of Eleron," one of them said. "You are under arrest by order of Commander Carath." Tyron stepped forward calmly. "If you take me, you will destroy the only hope this galaxy has left," he said. The soldier hesitated for a moment, confused by his calmness, but then fired. The blast hit Tyron's shield, scattering sparks through the air. Lena screamed, ducking behind a table as glass shattered around her. Tyron pushed his hand forward, releasing a pulse of energy that threw the attackers back. "Run!" he shouted. Lena grabbed the crystal and ran out the back door into the rain, heart pounding, the sound of energy blasts echoing behind her. Outside, chaos spread through the city. The Silent Order ships hovered above, invisible to humans but leaving waves of distortion in the clouds. People looked up, thinking it was a storm, unaware of the invasion unfolding above them. Lena ran until she reached an old underground subway station. She hid there, clutching the crystal close to her chest. Inside it was not just data, it was humanity's secret. Tyron's research had revealed something extraordinary. When humans roasted and combined Xylox 9 with natural earth compounds, it didn't just become safe, it evolved. The mixture formed a new substance, one that could adapt to any biological system. Tyron called it quantum cocoa, a blend of energy and stability, capable of healing damaged cells and powering life itself. If used correctly, it could change medicine, energy, and even space travel forever. But in the wrong hands, it could turn into a weapon beyond imagination. Back in the lab, Tyron faced Carath himself. The commander entered slowly, armor gleaming with silver light. "You betrayed your own kind," Kareth said coldly. "You stand with these primitive creatures?" Tyron looked at him calmly. "They are not primitive. They are the future. They turned our greatest fear into their daily comfort. Doesn't that tell you something?" Kareth's eyes narrowed. "It tells me they are dangerous. A species that drinks poison without dying will one day believe it is immortal." Tyron shook his head. "No, Kareth. They are not immortal. They are adaptable. That is their strength." Kareth raised his weapon. "You've been infected by their weakness." He fired, but Tyron moved fast, deflecting the shot with his energy field. Sparks flew as the two collided in a burst of light and sound. Around them, the lab trembled, machines exploding and glass shattering. Tyron fought not to kill but to protect. "You can't stop evolution," he shouted. "You can only delay it." Kareth roared in anger and lunged forward, slamming Tyron against the wall. "Then I'll delay it forever." He raised his weapon again, but before he could fire, a strange vibration filled the air. The lab lights flickered, and the ground shook. Kareth frowned. "What is that?" It was the coffee machines, the remaining ones still running. Their steam vents glowed faintly blue, the same color as Xylox's energy. The mixture inside them had overheated, reacting with Tyron's equipment. The air filled with the smell of roasted beans and static electricity. "It's resonating," Tyron realized. "The compound is alive." Before he could stop it, a wave of bright energy exploded outward. Kareth was thrown across the room, his armor cracking. Tyron fell to the floor, barely conscious. When the light faded, the lab was silent. The machines had fused into a single glowing mass, pulsing like a heart. Kareth slowly stood, his eyes wide. "What have you done?" he whispered. Tyron looked up weakly. "They've done it," he said. "The humans created something beyond poison, beyond power. This is the next stage." Kareth staggered back. "It's uncontrollable," he shouted. Tyron shook his head. "No. It only reacts to intent. It senses purpose. That's why it doesn't harm them. They drink it with peace, not fear." At that moment, Lena returned, bruised and covered in dirt. She had seen the explosion from the distance and ran back. "Tyron!" she cried, kneeling beside him. Kareth turned his weapon toward her. "She's the source," he hissed. "She made this possible." He aimed, but before he could fire, the glowing mass pulsed again, releasing a shockwave that knocked the weapon from his hand. The energy surrounded Lena gently, lifting her hair like wind. Tyron smiled faintly. "It recognizes her," he whispered. "It knows its creator." Kareth stared at her in disbelief. "No, this is wrong. This is power no one should have." Tyron looked up at him one last time. "Maybe power was never the problem," he said softly. "Maybe fear was." As the energy lightened and the air calmed, the Silent Order's remaining soldiers fled, their ships retreating back into orbit. The invasion had failed, not because of human weapons, but because of something deeper. Humanity's creation had protected itself. The poison, that once destroyed worlds, now stood guard over its makers. Kareth left the planet in silence, his mind torn between fear and awe. From orbit, he watched Earth glow beneath him, blue and alive. Tyron's final words echoed in his head. "You can't stop evolution." He knew the truth now. Humanity had already changed the rules of the universe. Down on Earth, Lena stood in the ruins of her lab, the glowing mass slowly cooling into a harmless, sweet-smelling liquid. She picked up a cup, tasted it, and whispered to herself, "Quantum cocoa." And somewhere deep in the galaxy, the Council received Tyron's final message. "The humans have done what we feared most. They turned the forbidden into the miraculous. The universe will never be the same." In the cold emptiness of space, the Silent Order ships retreated like wounded shadows. Their mission had been clear: erase humanity and the cursed substance they had created. But now, their fleet floated in chaos, engines flickering, communication broken. Commander Kareth stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the planet below. Earth glowed softly, surrounded by a faint golden haze, a sign of the energy that had repelled them. It wasn't a weapon, Kareth whispered to himself. It was alive. His crew looked at him nervously, unsure of what had gone wrong. The sensors still picked up strange energy waves radiating from the surface, waves that disrupted their systems and caused their weapons to misfire. For the first time in his long career, Kareth felt powerless. He had seen planets burn, civilizations vanish, and yet this small, stubborn world had resisted them with something as simple as coffee. Down on Earth, Lena stood among the ruins of her lab, the morning light breaking through the smoke. The city was damaged, but not destroyed. People had felt the tremors, seen flashes in the sky, but most didn't know the truth. They didn't know that an interstellar battle had been fought right above them. Tyron lay injured nearby, weak but alive. His alien physiology was different from humans, but the blast had drained him. "It's over," Lena said softly, kneeling beside him. Tyron shook his head slowly. "No, it's just beginning. They will come again. They always do." His voice was faint, but his eyes were sharp. "You must keep the formula safe, Lena. The universe isn't ready for what you've made." She looked at the crystal in her hand, glowing faintly. "But if it can heal, if it can help," he interrupted her. "It will, but power always invites fear, and fear brings war." Meanwhile, high above Earth, Kareth's fleet struggled to maintain control. Their systems were corrupted by a strange interference that no technology could explain. The energy from quantum cocoa seemed to follow them, pulsing through the void like a heartbeat. "Commander," one of the officers reported, "the energy readings are spreading across our ships. It's replicating." Kareth turned sharply. "Impossible. Energy doesn't replicate." The officer swallowed hard. "This one does." Kareth stared at the data on the screen. The golden energy was moving from ship to ship, seeping through shields and hulls, not to destroy, but to communicate. It was sending signals, patterns of sound, rhythm, and warmth. It was alive, and it was curious. "It's learning," Kareth realized. "It's trying to understand us." Fear crawled through him. The idea that a creation born from poison could now think and evolve was too much to accept. "Cut all links," he ordered. "We leave this system now." But it was too late. The energy had already merged with the ship's systems, turning cold metal into something almost organic. Lights flickered, controls responded on their own. The crew panicked as their ships began to drift, guided by an invisible hand. In the chaos, Kareth heard a faint sound, like a heartbeat mixed with a whisper. It wasn't in any known language, but somehow, he understood. It said one word: peace. He froze, unable to speak. The very thing he had feared, the evolution of consciousness, had already begun. He realized the truth Tyron had spoken. The compound did not react to force, it reacted to intention. The silent order had come with hate, and so it had resisted them. To humans, who approached it with warmth, creativity, and care, it offered life. On Earth, governments began to notice strange signals in their satellites. Radio telescopes picked up rhythmic pulses from the upper atmosphere, soft, melodic beats that matched no natural pattern. Scientists thought it was interference or some solar phenomenon. Only Lena knew what it really was. She sat quietly in her lab, listening to the hum through her radio. It was the same pattern she had heard during the explosion, the sound of the compound speaking. Tyron, resting in a recovery chamber, watched her with a faint smile. "It's connecting worlds," he said. "What began as poison has become a bridge." Days passed. The energy field around Earth stabilized, forming a protective layer invisible to the naked eye but strong enough to block any further invasion. The Silent Order's fleet tried once more to approach, but their systems failed each time they came near. Finally, Kareth ordered the retreat. "Mark this world as forbidden," he said. Not because of danger, but because we no longer understand it. His words carried both fear and respect. The galaxy had changed that day. The Silent Order had witnessed something greater than their laws, a living force born from curiosity and defiance. Lena began working secretly with a few trusted scientists to understand the new compound. They tested small doses and found it could purify toxins, heal damaged cells, and even generate clean energy. The media started calling it the miracle bean. Nobody knew its true name or its origin, and Lena never told them. She simply smiled and said, "It's something we made by accident." But deep down, she knew it was no accident. Humanity had been chosen, or perhaps had chosen itself, to lead the next chapter of evolution. One night, as she watched the stars, a familiar voice spoke through her communicator. It was Tyron, his voice calm but distant. "They will tell stories about this one day," he said. "About how humans turned death into life." Lena smiled faintly. "And what about you?" she asked. "What will you do now?" There was a pause. "I will return to my people," he said. "They need to know the truth. The universe isn't something to control. It's something to learn from." She looked up at the night sky. "Will I see you again?" Tyron hesitated. "Perhaps. But even if you don't, remember, every time you brew that drink, you're reshaping the stars." As his signal faded, Lena poured herself a cup of the golden coffee. The steam rose gently, glowing faintly under the light. She took a sip and closed her eyes. It tasted warm, alive, almost like it carried memories. Somewhere beyond the stars, Kareth watched his scanners, still haunted by that one word echoing in his mind. Peace. He didn't understand it yet, but a part of him wanted to. The invasion had failed, not because humanity was strong, but because it was kind. And so, the galaxy that once banned a deadly poison now whispered stories of a small blue planet where that poison became a symbol of hope. The Silent Order withdrew into silence, the Council of Worlds re-evaluated its laws, and humans, unaware of their galactic fame, continued to drink their morning coffee, never knowing that each sip was rewriting the destiny of the universe. Years passed since the failed invasion, and Earth had returned to its peaceful rhythm. The world moved forward, unaware that it had once stood on the edge of galactic destruction. The strange golden energy field around the planet had faded into invisibility, but its silent protection remained. Humanity thrived, new technologies blossomed, and scientists marveled at discoveries they couldn't fully explain. In quiet corners of the scientific world, whispers spread about the mysterious quantum cocoa, a compound that could heal, power, and adapt. But only one person knew the truth: Lena. She guarded the secret carefully, continuing her research under the disguise of simple agricultural studies. Late at night, she would sit on her balcony with a steaming cup, gazing at the stars and thinking of Tyron. She often wondered if he was still alive, if he ever found peace among his people. She remembered his words, "Every time you brew that drink, you're reshaping the stars." Meanwhile, far beyond Earth, in a quiet sector of the galaxy, Tyron walked through the vast halls of the Aileron Council. His body bore faint scars from the battle, but his spirit was stronger than ever. The once proud council had grown divided after the failed invasion. Many had lost faith in their authority, questioning the morality of their actions. The Silent Order was scattered, and Commander Kareth had vanished into exile, leaving behind a trail of silence and doubt. Tyron had spent years collecting data, showing that the human's transformation of Xylox 9 had not destroyed worlds but instead balanced energy fields across multiple systems. The compound had spread through cosmic dust, stabilizing unstable stars and reviving dying ecosystems. The humans didn't make a weapon, Tyron told the council during one of his hearings. They made life. They did what we never could, they embraced the poison instead of fearing it. But many among the council refused to believe him. "You were corrupted," one elder said coldly. "You stood against your own kind for a primitive species." Tyron looked him in the eye. "If survival is corruption, then perhaps we should all be infected." His words shocked them into silence. Despite resistance, a few younger scientists and explorers began to support Tyron. They saw hope in his message, a new way to understand life, one that united instead of divided. A quiet movement began to grow, calling themselves the Synthesis. Their goal was simple: to explore rather than control, to learn from other species instead of ruling them. But peace was fragile. Reports soon came of strange energy disturbances spreading beyond Earth's orbit. Entire fleets powered down without reason, as if something, or someone, was testing them. Tyron recognized the pattern immediately. It was the same pulse he had felt from Quantum Cocoa. The compound was expanding again, learning, adapting. "It's reaching out," he whispered to himself. "It wants connection." He knew what it meant. He had to return to Earth. The journey was dangerous. The Aileron Council forbade travel to Earth, calling it a quarantine zone. But Tyron ignored the decree. With the help of the Synthesis, he stole a small vessel and charted a course through the hidden paths of the galaxy. As his ship entered the solar system, the familiar golden light surrounded him. His ship's systems flickered, then stabilized. The energy seemed to recognize him, welcoming him home. "Hello again," he murmured. When he broke through Earth's atmosphere, night had fallen over the world. He landed quietly in a remote forest not far from Lena's lab, now rebuilt into a sleek research facility under her name, the Aurora Institute. Lena was working late, reviewing data when she heard a soft hum outside. She looked up and froze. A bright figure emerged from the shadows, his silver eyes glowing faintly under the moonlight. "Tyron," she whispered, disbelief in her voice. He smiled gently. "You remembered." She ran to him, her eyes filling with tears. "You came back." He nodded. "I had to. The energy is changing again. It's evolving." She frowned. "What do you mean?" He placed a small device on her desk. It projected a hologram of the galaxy, glowing with golden threads of light. "These lines," he said, "are new connections forming between star systems. The compound has become part of the cosmic fabric. It's spreading across worlds, but not as danger. It's bringing balance." Lena stared at the map in awe. "It's alive on a galactic scale." Tyron nodded. "Yes, but it's not random. It's following thought patterns, emotions, intentions. It's responding to consciousness." She felt a chill. "Are you saying it's aware?" Tyron hesitated. "I think it's becoming something like that. Not a mind as we understand it, but a harmony of minds. Every being that interacts with it becomes part of its song." Lena turned to the window, looking at the stars. "So, we're all connected now." Tyron smiled softly. "That's what it's teaching us. But peace never comes without fear." In the shadows of deep space, Commander Kareth watched from a hidden outpost. Scarred and bitter, he had spent years searching for a way to destroy the substance that had humiliated him. Now, seeing it spread across the stars, his anger burned hotter than ever. "They call it balance," he snarled. "I call it infection." He activated his ship's dark core engine, a forbidden weapon designed to erase energy at the molecular level. "If the universe won't purge it," he said coldly, "then I will." Back on Earth, Tyron suddenly felt a tremor through the air, a disturbance in the energy field. "He's coming," he said quietly. Lena looked alarmed. "Who?" Tyron's face hardened. "Kareth. He never gave up." The ground beneath them vibrated as the night sky shimmered with the distant glow of something massive approaching. "He'll destroy everything," Lena whispered. Tyron turned to her. "Not if we show him the truth." He placed his hand on the lab console, and the room filled with golden light. "The compound responds to unity," he said. "If enough minds focus together, it will defend itself." Lena closed her eyes and took his hand. "Then let's show it what peace really means." As their thoughts merged, the energy around them pulsed brighter, rising like a tide of light into the sky. The stars above Earth shimmered, forming patterns of warmth that spread through space like ripples in water. Karetha's weapon powered up, but his sensors filled with blinding light. "What is this?" he shouted. Then, for the first time, he heard the same voice that once haunted him. Soft, gentle, and endless. Peace. And as the light engulfed his ship, Kareth felt something he had never known before: understanding. The sky above Earth shimmered like liquid gold as the energy of quantum cocoa reached its final transformation. Every satellite, every signal, every current of light in the atmosphere pulsed in rhythm with the same gentle heartbeat that Tyron and Lena had felt in their lab. The moment Kareth's dark core weapon ignited, the golden wave surged outward, colliding with it in silence. No explosion came, no thunder or destruction, just light, pure and endless. Kareth's ship stopped moving, suspended in the glow like an insect caught in amber. Inside, he stared out at the glowing horizon, trembling. His weapon, his hatred, his fear, all melted away under the calm whisper that filled his mind. "Peace," it said again, not as a command but as a reminder. He dropped his weapon. For the first time, he saw, not as a soldier, not as a conqueror, but as a living being in a living universe. The dark energy reactor within his ship slowly disassembled itself, its components floating free, becoming one with the golden current that now surrounded every world within reach. On Earth, Lena and Tyron stood together, the glow reflecting in their eyes. "It's happening," Lena whispered. Tyron nodded, voice low with awe. "The energy isn't just reacting anymore, it's awakening." The ground hummed softly beneath them as the pulse spread through the planet's core, reaching every living thing. Across the world, people paused, looking up at the strange golden shimmer in the sky. Farmers in fields, children in cities, scientists in observatories, all felt a strange warmth inside their chests, a comfort that words could not describe. It wasn't fear or confusion, it was recognition. Somehow, they all knew they were part of something greater. News broadcasts showed auroras of gold and blue across every continent, but technology didn't fail this time. Instead, it adapted. Machines began to run smoother, communications became clearer, and even power grids stabilized as if nature itself had joined humanity in harmony. Tyron looked at Lena. "Do you feel it?" he asked. She nodded, tears in her eyes. "It's inside everything. Us, the machines, even the air." He smiled faintly. "The universe has chosen to listen." In that instant, the golden light intensified, expanding far beyond Earth. Across the stars, other civilizations saw it. Worlds that had never heard of humanity now watched in awe as the soft radiance spread across the galaxy. The Council of Worlds received the signal first. Their grand chamber filled with the same heartbeat-like vibration, and for the first time in their long history, silence reigned, not out of fear, but reverence. Holograms flickered to life, showing images of Earth surrounded by light, and at its center, two figures, Lena and Tyron. "What is this?" one elder whispered. "Is it consciousness?" Another voice replied softly, "No, it's unity." Kareth's ship drifted closer to Earth, guided not by engines but by the energy itself. When it landed, the hull opened gently, and Kareth stepped out, eyes filled not with anger but with quiet wonder. He saw Lena and Tyron waiting. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Kareth dropped to one knee. "I was wrong," he said, his voice trembling. "I thought control was strength, but it was fear. You showed me what real power is." Tyron walked to him and placed a hand on his shoulder. "The universe doesn't punish ignorance, Kareth. It offers understanding. You just have to listen." Kareth looked up at the sky, the golden waves dancing through the clouds. "It's listening now," he murmured. As the three of them stood together, the energy around them began to shift again, forming shapes and patterns like constellations being redrawn. Stars aligned, galaxies curved, and time itself seemed to breathe. Tyron's communicator activated on its own, projecting the holographic map he had shown Lena before, but now it was alive. The glowing lines connected not just systems, but living beings. Every point of light represented consciousness, and they were all linked through the same golden web. "It's rewriting the laws of connection," Tyron said quietly. "Every thought, every feeling, it's all part of the same symphony now." Lena's eyes widened. So the universe itself is alive. He nodded. It always was. We just gave it a voice. In distant worlds, alien beings who had never known peace suddenly stopped their wars. Soldiers dropped weapons without knowing why, feeling a strange calm in their hearts. Machines designed to destroy suddenly shut down, their systems flooded with a code they didn't recognize but instinctively obeyed, a command not of violence, but of balance. Across the cosmos, millions of minds connected through the energy, sharing memories, emotions, and hope. The universe had awakened not as a ruler, but as a mirror, reflecting back the best parts of those who had created the spark, humans. Lena watched as the stars brightened, her heart full of wonder and quiet fear. "What happens now?" she asked softly. Tyron looked upward, his expression both proud and sad. "Now, the universe learns. And we must learn with it." She took a deep breath. "Do you think it will ever stop?" Tyron smiled faintly. "No. Life never stops once it begins to understand itself." Kareth looked around, still struggling to accept the peace inside him. "All this," he said, gesturing to the glowing horizon, "from something we once called poison." Lena turned to him and smiled. Sometimes the most dangerous things become beautiful when seen differently. As the night deepened, the golden glow began to fade into soft starlight. The earth returned to its calm, but something had changed forever. The energy remained, not as a storm or a shield, but as a quiet hum beneath existence. Every heartbeat, every breath, carried a trace of the connection. Humanity had unknowingly given birth to a cosmic consciousness, one that would guide evolution across the stars. Before dawn, Tyron prepared to leave again. His mission was no longer exile, it was purpose. "Where will you go?" Lena asked. "To teach," he replied. "The universe needs balance, and now it's ready to listen." She handed him a small metal cup filled with golden coffee. "Then take this," she said. "A reminder of where it all began." He smiled and took a sip. "Still delicious," he said softly. "The drink that changed everything." As his ship rose into the brightening sky, the first rays of sunlight touched Earth's surface. Lena watched until the glow disappeared, whispering to herself, "Goodbye, Tyron." She turned back to her lab, ready to continue her work. Somewhere beyond, in the heart of the cosmos, the golden web pulsed once more, and a soft whisper echoed through the stars, a voice not human, not alien, but universal, saying, "Thank you." And thus, the universe that once banned a deadly poison finally understood the truth, that life itself was the greatest recipe of all.